A estratégia de segurança nacional dos Estados Unidos está traçada. Ao longo de 48 páginas, o documento, lançado agora em outubro pelo governo de Joe Biden, escancara a rivalidade entre Casa Branca e as administrações de Moscou e Pequim. No documento, Biden é bastante direto ao dizer que o mundo está em um momento de inflexão e que os Estados Unidos vão aproveitar esta década para melhor posicionar o seu país e superar seus concorrentes geopolíticos.
I think the national security strategy, it continues something that the Biden admin has been talking about in a lot of other strategic documents, which is this recognition that the sort of moment after the end of the Cold War, which some people call like the unipolar moment, when the US was sort of standing alone on the international stage as the biggest, strongest power, is not really there anymore. That moment has passed, and that the structure of the international system is changing. And that changing requires new approaches to US foreign policy. The Biden administration seems to be continuing sort of what long-standing things the US has always sort of said and done, which is, we want to be able to compete militarily and defend against Russia, China, and terrorism all at once. A very expansive idea about this democracy versus autocracy framing.
Nas entrelinhas do documento, revela-se o imperialismo americano. Sob o pretexto de guiar o mundo com segurança para um amanhã mais brilhante e esperançoso, os Estados Unidos reforçam a sua necessidade de hegemonia.
The US sits atop. It's still the biggest, most powerful, and therefore most dangerous and most imperialist state in the world. But it's got competitors, especially in the form of China, which is at the heart of the national security strategy, which, Biden makes very clear in it that they have to outcompete China. And it's for the first time the US faces a genuine economic challenger, because China is now the second largest capitalist economy in the world. It's got increasing capacity in high-tech industry. It's not just a low-cost producer, and it is a giant financier of development in all sorts of parts of the world through the Belt and Road Initiative, and it's developing its military to contest with the United States in Asia and the Asia Pacific, and increasingly looking for bases elsewhere. So the U.S. is worried that its position of global hegemony is under threat.
Assim como na física, na política toda ação também tem uma reação de mesma intensidade. Por isso, a publicação do Plano Nacional de Segurança dos Estados Unidos, que é nominal em muitos pontos, preocupa os especialistas.
It just seems like the Chinese are going to look at the parts of the NSS about, democracy versus autocracy and China being the number one competitor. They're going to say, this is evidence for US containment strategy against us. We were right all along not to trust them. We were right all along to keep doing what we're doing on the military front. And it's like classic spiral dynamics, right? Or not only a spiral, but the security dilemma, right? Like, you do a thing that you perceive as defensive, that the other side perceives as offensive, which sparks reaction. And we're just in it now. And I don't see a path out.
Se por um lado há muitos motivos para preocupação, por outro, existe o avanço das forças populares.
While you've had this drive towards great power competition, also over the last decade and a half, really since the Great Recession, we've seen the largest wave of mass popular protest and struggle since the epoch of 1917, since the epoch of the Russian Revolution. There are hopeful things of, mass popular revolt from below. And the political challenge is, are we going to build international organizations, political parties, social movement, and trade union organizations to unite us all across the borders against the madness of our common enemies, that is the ruling classes and states of the different countries all around the world?